Hi, church family. My name is Gabby, and today I would like to share a passage with you that I have been studying for an assignment at Moody, and one that has actually become really convicting and encouraging to me. And this passage is Colossians 3, verses 12 through 14, and it says, "Therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, put on tender mercies, kindness, humility, meekness, and longsuffering, bearing with one another and forgiving one another. If anyone has a complaint against another, even as Christ forgave you, so you also must do. But above all these things, put on love, which is the bond of perfection." When you first look at this passage, you may realize it's basically a reminder of foundational parts of our Christian life, like our identity, our character, and how we're called to love. And you may wonder why this passage is so important and how we are to apply it. And I found through looking at the background of Colossians that Paul wrote this letter originally to a group of pretty mature Christian believers, similar to us, who were struggling in two ways. And these two ways were there had been a change of surroundings as their culture had increased in pressures and temptations, and a passage of time between when they had first confessed Christ to where they were now. And these two things really resonated with me in the fact that our surroundings have changed. You go out and you see someone wearing a mask, or you can't go to work anymore, or you're home from school. And there's been a passing of time from when we first confessed Christ and we were so excited and motivated to continue to mature to where we're now, where we are now in this hard season where sometimes it's hard to get out of bed. And so I was really encouraged by this passage in three ways as a result. And these three ways are, first of all, I was motivated by this passage in a time when I do not have much motivation. And I was motivated because of the reminder that it is God who has chosen us. It is God who has made us holy and God who has called us beloved. A few verses up, it also reminds us that God is renewing us daily to become more like Christ. And in light of all that Christ and God has done for us, we are called to continue to mature, continue to grow, even in this hard time. And the second way, which is kind of the way we can actually work this out, is the second thing was that I was reminded to reflect on Christ and then reflect on my character. These 5 characteristics listed in this verse are actually first attributed to God and to Christ. And once again, a reminder to be motivated to follow in Christ's footsteps as he is our example. And it reminded me of the actually special nature of the season we're in. Whether we are surrounded by people and we need to reflect on Christ, reflect on his kindness, for one, or his patience to be able to respond as a Christian to an annoying sibling or another family member, or if we're in isolation during this time, this is a special season to look back on a few months prior and to see how our character has been manifested through different events, and maybe reflect on someone we need to forgive, someone who we need to ask for forgiveness. And lastly, this passage reminded me that through and above all these things, we're called to put on love, which is the bond of perfection, that thing which brings us to completeness and to maturity. And so it reminded me to not just jump up and go try to do something in motivation, to not just force myself to act like Christ, to not just try to pull myself up and figure out how to mature, but to pause and to pray, to ask God in his love to show me how to love others through my actions, through my characteristics. So I pray this passage also motivates you, calls you to reflect on Christ and your character, and calls you to remember to pause and to pray, not do this in your own strength. I pray you are blessed with a wonderful weekend.